Hello and a very warm welcome to the Queen channel. Did you realize that before marrying Meghan, the entire palace did love Harry until, of course, they met Meghan? I mean, everybody respected Harry and everybody just wanted them to be happy. But what they did next made not only the palace, but also everybody in the UK feel surprised and even shocked. Meghan ruined everything. Please watch this whole video. There's some interesting content waiting for you at the very end. And I want to stop for a second and ask all of you how your day is going. I hope everything is going well for both you and your family members. Okay, so before she married Harry, Meghan Markle already had a reputation for her past, a pretty checkered past, I guess we could say. You see, Meghan Markle's problem started before she even married Harry. She was a yacht girl, she was a briefcase girl, she made her money in some really seedy ways. And I think the royals were very kind to accept her as freely as they did. But it was because they loved Harry so much and they just wanted him to be happy. We know many members of the royal family actually did warn Harry when it came to rushing into marriage. And as stupid as he is, he simply doesn't know how to listen to the best advice that is offered to him. Anyway, the palace did their best. They were tolerant and they respected Harry's feelings. They didn't force Harry to marry somebody more worthy of the royal family. At that time, Meghan was a nobody, and for that matter, she's still a nobody. Now, I know she was an actress on Suits. I had never heard of her. But anyway, she played Rachel Zane, a paralegal, and the main character's love interest. Now, at that time that I found out that she was on Suits, I didn't really want to know more about her as a person. I just thought, all right, she's a dime a dozen actress. Meghan Markle should use the rest of her life to repay the kindness and appreciation that the royal family showed her, but she's not doing that. It's obvious that Meghan Markle doesn't really love Harry. She's just with Harry for money and clout. If she loved Harry, she wouldn't force Harry to move so far away from his home all the way to California. Instead, she would have been more willing to work with Harry and actually work hard for the royal family. Essentially, Meghan has never shown any respect for the royal family whatsoever. So really, we cannot blame the royal family when Meghan Markle gets hit in the head by karma. Now, some time ago, before Harry officially declared that his residence is America, there was some information claiming that William had made some promise to Harry that Harry would be able to return when King Charles got sick with cancer. But the behavior we have seen from Harry in recent years has been nothing short of appalling. And why is that? Honestly, I think this pressure on Prince William to extend an olive branch to Harry is unfair. Royal expert Richard Eden has said the same thing. He has called it grossly unfair. The news of the king's recent diagnosis with an unspecified form of cancer has led to calls from some royal commentators that William should make the first move towards reconciliation with Harry, in spite of all the criticism that Harry and Meghan made against the royal family. Writing in the latest edition of his Palace Confidential newsletter, Richard Eden is saying that these expectations are both unrealistic and wrong. He said Harry and Meghan's behavior over recent years has been appalling and will have barely helped the mental health of the royal family members they have betrayed and translated. From what friends of William and Catherine tell us, Harry would need to make a heartfelt apology to them before they could even start the process of rebuilding relations. Upon hearing the news that his father was ill, Harry issued a statement saying that he would be flying out to see him, and this, according to Eden, was done with almost indecent haste. He went on to say the bulletin came barely half an hour after Buckingham Palace had announced that King Charles was suffering from cancer and had begun treatment. Prince Harry's statement provoked countless articles this week urging the Prince of Wales to use the opportunity of his brother's visit to mend fences for the sake of their father. William does need his brother right now, claims the BBC's former royal correspondent Jenny Bond. Soon it became abundantly clear that William had no plans to see Harry. Harry left Britain after 24 hours, and he had to stay in a hotel at his expense, of course. He didn't get to sleep in one of the many royal residences in London. Quote, the king met Harry at Clarence House for a little more than half an hour. This was, I can reveal, less time than His Majesty spent with Princess Beatrice and her husband, Edoardo Mapelli-Mozzi, the previous day. To me, the pressure on William to welcome his brother back into the fold seems grossly unfair, according to Richard Eden. I mean, it's understandable that nobody should be welcoming Harry back to Britain. It's really disgusting how it's all about Harry. He's simply unnecessary, he's irrelevant, and he cannot be trusted. Prince William is the loyal one. He has been there by his father's side this entire time. It's so wrong to request that he has to put up with that jealous, whining, entitled brat of a brother. William also needs to keep his distance from Harry for the sake of his family. I mean, Harry's going to try to use William. When he becomes king, he's going to be begging William for money, just like he is Charles right now. And that is the only reason that he's pretending like he wants to mend fences. But William is never going to be able to forget or forgive. He and Meghan did way too much. I mean, William shouldn't forgive. Harry has done too many awful things to hurt the family and said so many nasty things about the family too, hurtful things about his family. And he really crossed a line when he included Catherine. I think for William, that was the last straw. Harry has also been Meghan's puppet in all this mess. He simply can't stand up to her. I mean, I hate to think that he really is an idiot, but thank God William got all the brains and he was the one who was born first. At least we know that he can do the job. William is also incredibly loyal. He is dedicated and he is trained well. He knows what he's doing. So he and his family are ready to take over when the time comes. And I do hope that William and Catherine can enjoy a little more time as the Waleses before William becomes king, because that way at least King Charles can enjoy being king for a little longer. I mean, he waited 70 years to take the throne. Now, he's an incredibly dedicated father. I don't care what Harry says. His children need him to be involved for at least 15 years before he can become king. And I hope that can happen for the family. Meghan, though, could never ever go back to being a working royal. She is so toxic. She's so evil. She's not welcome in Britain. She can just stay put in California. And we know the real reason that Harry made that mad dash to visit his father. He wanted to make sure that he was still going to be in the will. Ugh, he's so heartless. He has no feelings for his family whatsoever, and he was so ugly towards them, said so many horrible things about them. So why all of a sudden is he pretending like he loves his father? Harry also dumped on Camilla with no consideration as to how it was going to harm his father. So no, I don't believe that he has had a change of heart. I don't believe for one second that he apologized for all the trouble he has caused. I mean, only fools want a reconciliation. Harry, I'm afraid, is unredeemable. He has treated his grandparents abhorrently, and his family he did even worse. He made his bed, so now it's time for him to lie in it, maybe forever. Harry can beg for forgiveness all he wants, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be given. Why would anybody want to encourage him? I mean, it would be suicide. It would be destructive. And as for an apology, now Harry does need to apologize to the royal family, but the royals have nothing to apologize for. And honestly, he needs to apologize to the people of Great Britain too. I mean, let's keep in mind also that it wasn't only the royal family who was defamed. It was the people of Britain. Let that sink in for just a minute. What kind of apology should not only the royal family be expecting, but a whole country? I mean, is there any way for him to rectify all the damage that he has done? Probably not. Over the last few years, Harry and Meghan have worked very hard to make everybody's lives miserable. Nobody asked how William was doing, to quote Meghan Markle, that selfish nobody. They are so egotistical and they're so self-absorbed. And not one single time have they been supportive. Over the past few years, the family lost Prince Philip. They lost the late Her Majesty the Queen. And also King Charles and Princess Catherine have been diagnosed with cancer. William and the rest of the family are just trying to pick up the pieces, trying to handle everything. And why would William ever think of letting them continue to use and abuse everybody? Now, the family is family, but when a member treats the other members like that, they're not family anymore. And Harry still pretends like he and Meghan are the victims. When it comes to Harry, I wouldn't have to think twice about what to do with him. Nobody forced him to remain silent with all the disrespect that Meghan Markle was showing. I mean, he could have stood up to her. He could have shown that he actually has a spine. He could have stood up for the truth, but he chose not to. Instead, he encouraged her, and he helped her spread so many lies in print, in interviews, and in their behavior. He's showing himself to be no better than her. He's also traitorous, he's vile, he is a despicable person. And I mean, I do believe in forgiveness, but sometimes there's just too much damage. I would never trust him again. And if I were the royals, I would never let him anywhere close to me. Because if they trust him again, he's going to betray them again. So I think Harry and Meghan are going to be forever held at arm's length. And honestly, the royals should not speak with them unless they absolutely have to. Instead of wasting a lot of words on Harry, I would like to send some sincere thoughts to dear William. The first thing is, I never really understood why a senior member of the family has the responsibility to help out this traitorous brother to repair the damage that the traitor caused. So why should family or friends or strangers tell you that you got to be the one to fix things? You've got to be the one to forgive. It's not fair. Why put the responsibility on William's shoulders? He's got enough to handle. And let's remember, Harry and Meghan are the ones who created this whole mess. They should be the ones who figure out how to fix it. William has enough to handle right now. He does not need to be forced into mediation. I simply don't understand it. Now, I have also lost elderly loved ones. Of course I have. We all have. And I've also had to care for cancer-stricken family members. And when the worst member of the family just waltzes in, the black sheep, acting like they're the savior, acting like they have been forgiven, it's disgusting. It's offensive. And then they demand things, they whine, and they cause a lot of problems while claiming that they're just trying to be there to help out. But in reality, they're looking for another payday. Is it already not a difficult enough time as is? William has been there for His Majesty the King. He has been there by his side the whole time, been an amazing support system. He was there when the King lost his parents. He was there after that. He was there when the King was being tortured by Harry and Meghan. So what? All of a sudden that's supposed to be forgotten? William right now has a lot to handle. He has a lot on his plate. He doesn't need to deal with Harry. And it's not only his beautiful wife who is recuperating, it's his father who has cancer too. He's undergoing treatment right now, and he's even stepped back into his role. Why are people saying that it's William's job to reach out to Harry? Harry is such an embarrassment. No. William, you don't need to do that. You stay strong. There are plenty of people who are behind you. We are compassionate, we are empathetic, and we support you. And we actually live in reality. We're not stuck in a fantasy world. We understand you are in pain. We understand your struggles. So please do not give in to this ridiculous pressure that is being put on you by the media. Don't be pressured into coddling this drug-addicted screw-up. Nobody is going to blame you. Nobody's going to blame you if you want to just focus on being there for your father and for your wife. Loving those two is more than enough. And just leave Harry to his own fate. Don't bother reaching out to him. Don't give him the time of day. Don't give him the idea that he's been forgiven and that everything he did was justified. Please, William, be the strong one, the one who is there for your father, the one who protects your family during this difficult time. Do not buckle at all. Do not give Harry any room to put his foot in the door. Keep him far away and teach him for once there are consequences to his behavior. And if he's the one who reaches out, then I don't think it's going to be a good thing for the family. I hope that William doesn't do it, because you know what Harry's going to do. He's going to act like the prodigal son who came back and his family was so thankful to him. We also need to remember that the Harry William sees today is not the same person he grew up with. Harry has ruined his brain with drugs. I mean, Harry's only going to stop when he's made to stop. He's a lost cause. He's never going to change. He's a traitor. He cannot be trusted. See, Harry is motivated by greed and hatred, so it doesn't matter how much forgiveness is shown to him, he's never going to change. It's never going to change what is inside of him, which is really, really ugly. Harry understands that the time to make peace with the family is coming to a close. At some point, he's not going to have anybody left to try to persuade to forgive him. Do not give him any opportunity. William, be the man you know yourself to be, the man your family loves, the man the country and the Commonwealth also love and are so incredibly proud of. And most of all, be the loyal, loving son that your father needs right now. Anybody who's pressuring you to make amends with Harry has never ever felt pain like you are right now. I mean, honestly, probably Harry himself is the one promoting this idea. Just know that the people of the UK and really people all around the world, including Americans like myself, are behind you. We are with you. We are praying for you. I would guess soon enough this whole mess is going to come to an end because Harry's going to finish the process of becoming an American citizen. Even Harry is using Frogmore's expulsion as an excuse to completely sever ties with his own family. It's pretty funny though. I mean, if Harry really wanted to destroy his relationship with his family, then why couldn't he just make it public? There is no need to plot like this. There's no need to take advantage of their kindness like that. Considering they left the UK on their own, I mean, that was their choice, and then immediately they began this vicious campaign of hatred against the family and also tried to make a living from the only thing they could really sell. I'm talking about their connection to that very family. It became important that the two of them were kept at a distance. Because Harry and Meghan were trying to film the family and leak all the details of private conversations. Meghan Markle, let's remember, had been found taking photos in areas that she had no business being in. Little things just all of a sudden disappeared. And of course, the king had a responsibility to keep the royal family in a safe environment. So of course, he couldn't renew the lease on their rental of the cottage, and Meghan Markle in the past had also made it clear that it wasn't big enough for the two of them. So a perfect solution, I think. If they really wanted to visit, then they could make their own arrangements, or the king could provide them a place to stay, where they could be safely contained and kept far away from areas they had no business being in. But the two of them are just so obsessed with this victim narrative. Harry is obsessed with the idea that he's a victim. He wants everybody to see him that way. So everything is presented by him to reinforce that idea. But he's not a victim. I mean, I guess in some ways he's a victim of himself. He's a victim of being an idiot. He's a victim of having no skills. He's incredibly jealous, and he is so desperate to be viewed as important and relevant. And I guess he's a victim of his own drug use too, because right now he is not living in reality anymore. Meghan is also very similar. She's not a lot smarter than Harry. She acts like she is, but she's really not. Meghan put herself in a very difficult situation. So in business, Meghan tried to fight with Martha Stewart. I mean, who did she think she was? I mean, what a stupid idea. And of course, people saw it as exactly that. Meghan is clueless. I swear she is beyond help. Aside from stealing the orchard part from the king, I mean, the first commandment with branding is to have a name that people find interesting and relatable, and also one that you can remember. American Riviera Orchard is just weird and doesn't make any sense. I mean, of course, though, we are talking about Meghan Markle, queen of word salad. I mean, the first thought I had was, what on earth is American Riviera Orchard? It doesn't make sense. I mean, American Riviera, what's that? And then orchard is tacked on again. The whole thing makes absolutely no sense. Meghan really should have market tested that brand name, and she would have found out it wasn't a good one. I mean, basic advertising and marketing theory states that you gotta test it out on target audiences. But I guess at the same time, she couldn't do that because she doesn't know who her target audience is. I don't even think Meghan needed to necessarily be a business genius to make a successful business, but God, the way she approached it is really stupid, and clearly she didn't listen to any advice. I would hope that at some point in time, somebody tried to give Meghan some advice and let her know that was not a great idea for a name, but obviously she didn't listen, because here we are with American Riviera Orchard, and people are already making fun of it. I've seen examples like American Dung Orchard and American River Slot Orchard. And now we've got Martha Stewart chiming in. She is also a bit offended because she sees a talentless nobody trying to basically elbow Martha from the table. Which, I mean, Martha knows what she's doing. She worked incredibly hard. Meghan, though, is clueless. She has no idea what she's gotten herself into. She's just so arrogant. She believes that whatever idea she has is good just because it came from her. So I would put American Riviera Orchard's chances of success at about 0. Now, I know the Sugars and Meghan Markle's squatties are going to be paid to act like they're so excited about the brand, but they don't have any money. I mean, come on. They're not going to be able to buy enough jars of jam to make this business worth it. And remember, the jam is not cheap either. Apparently, it was about $25 a jar. Who is going to pay that? Especially for a jam where we don't even know where it came from. It's probably the same thing as what's in Smucker's jars. She just slapped a label on it that she thinks looks so fancy. Again, it doesn't. And it doesn't even have any information on the label. Again, this is the stupidest business idea I think I have ever come across. So, what do you think Harry and Meghan are really thinking? Do you think that royal author Tom Quinn is right in saying that Harry still has a vague hope that he's going to be forgiven by his family and that his family will offer him some minor working role? I suspect that Harry is holding on to this hope. I mean, I've been watching Harry and Meghan's behavior, and I get the sense that Meghan has convinced Harry that he was given a really raw deal. It wasn't fair. I do believe it's possible that more could have been done by the royal family in terms of denying stories or maybe pressuring the media to rescind stories. But I suspect they decided not to because they hated Meghan and they wanted her to go away, and I don't blame them for that one bit. I mean, Harry apparently, though, is still blinded by Meghan, and he believes that everybody's so critical of her because we're jealous of her. All criticism has to just come from the fact that she's better at the job, right? I mean, Harry went to the Spencers. He was certain that he had found the reincarnation of his late mother. It's really scary stuff. And he insisted that William thought that she was rude and abrasive because of the media's influence. Again, like William can't come to his own conclusions. Now, I think Diana was right when she said that Harry was not very bright. I mean, he himself has admitted that he's never been a big fan of reading, and he was so amazed that Meghan had read Eat, Pray, Love. God. Harry also just believes all of Meghan's completely BS stories. I mean, he really thought that Vanity Fair wanted her on the cover because of Suits. There are so many other examples where you can clearly see that whatever Meghan says, Harry just eats up. He talks about the royal family's neglect with such conviction, and he also talks about how weird the customs of the royal family are. He doesn't believe that. I guess Meghan and Doria help him out with these beliefs on a daily basis, always whispering in his ear. They have really done a number with Harry. I mean, the things he used to know were right and good, now he believes are wrong and bad. And the things that he was raised to believe are wrong and bad, now he believes are right and good. It's really some scary, scary stuff they have done to him. I mean, brothers also, it's normal for brothers to fight sometimes. And then Harry fell down in the dog bowl. Oh, well. Doria and Meghan were there to let him know that was abuse. That's not how brothers act, just like they did with Thomas Markle. I mean, honestly, Doria is a horrible mother. So after watching way too much content about those two and also listening to more of Spare than I cared to, I have come to a conclusion. Meghan and Doria have successfully brainwashed Harry. His pitiful intellect has completely submitted to the counsel of those two evil witches. The question posed is whether Harry has such ideas. I think he has convinced himself that he and Meghan have been wronged. And if they just make a whole lot of noise and force people to listen, the family is going to apologize and everything will be okay. Honestly, I think Harry lost his brain the day he met Meghan. Eventually, though, I hope that he does wake up and see what he has done. And is there going to be any way back for him? Any way to make amends? Well, I just don't know. All right, friends, and this information was brought to you thanks to the process of my research, analysis, and editing. I hope that you enjoyed our video. We will be ready and happy to receive all your suggestions and comments. Please comment what you think about this very topic, and then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you again soon in other videos on the Queen channel.